Most of our social interactions end up being polite small talk. We ask the same questions with no real intention of listening to another's answers. We don't sit down and have heart-to-heart conversations about our memories, our dreams, our fears. We've created a social barrier, making it difficult to really connect with others. Technology is also a factor. As we get more absorbed in our phones, we get less interested in face-to-face conversation. A study done by Shalini Misra revealed that by just holding a phone in their hand during a conversation, participants rated the quality of the conversation as less fulfilling than the conversation without the phone. Participants holding a phone also experienced less empathy and connection than participants without the glowing and buzzing distraction. I want to break this barrier, connect with those I'm close to and those I'm not on a deeper level. By revealing personal information to each other, we'll be engaging in reciprocal self-disclosure. Just 45 minutes of this practice will hopefully increase closeness between us and possibly serve as the basis of some new relationships. I'll be talking with a couple of people, some I know very well and some I know less about. We'll be asking each other 36 questions. These 36 questions are divided into 3 tiers, each tier more personal than the last. The purpose of these tiers is to get more comfortable and trusting with another so that there are no boundaries when we get to the more personal questions. The goal of this overall experience is to not only strengthen the bonds I have with my friends, but use it as a type of exposure therapy to target my social anxiety. In an article by Richard Heimberg on CBT for social anxiety, he mentions using exposure therapy as an effective way to help people face situations they fear while staying psychologically engaged. Traditionally, this can be done with a therapist through role play of a social situation. When repeating these sessions of 45 minutes of conversation, I felt that the more times I went through the questions, the more comfortable I was doing them with the next person.
Okay, what would constitute a perfect day for you?
Okay, a perfect day for me would be to wake up late, like not have to wake up early, or to wake up early and not have to go anywhere. Coffee, absolutely. I think it would be like going to a show or just seeing my friends who don't necessarily live in New York anymore.
Name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common.
We both don't know how simple things work, like this thing.
Yeah, okay.
This is kind of hard.
This is a hard one.
Yeah, this is pretty hard. I guess we're both pretty kind people, considerate to others. We don't really
The beginning questions were kind of fun and loosened us up a little bit. They seemed almost like icebreakers you do when you meet a new group of people. Things start out a little awkward. When do we ever just sit down and ask each other non-debatable questions? How often a day do we just sit and listen to someone?
Right, switch gears a little bit. What is your most terrible memory?
I think those ones involve feelings of neglect in childhood, probably. Just feelings at any time. I think being alone is probably one of the scarier things for me, is feeling a total lack of connection.
What is your most treasured memory, or one of them?
Christmas, where my grandmother was still alive.
Yeah.
And she bought me a laptop for Christmas, and it was the biggest deal. It was this Gateway laptop.
Yeah.
It was so exciting to get one because I had never had that before, and my parents couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
And my grandmother always pulled through for us.
Yeah.
So that Christmas was just such a important Christmas, and realizing how much my grandparents really did for my parents at the time.
The next set of questions gave each of us insight as to who we were and what we value. I learned things about my friends I didn't know. I learned about what was important to them. I also was able to get some insight and take mental notes on what they consider a good friendship. We began to understand what beliefs we share, and what beliefs we may not.
points in my life, I accidentally called my manager dad. Tell me what you like about me.
You are always grounding and safe presence for me. Especially the last few months, you've just been amazing. I like how you'll always reflect truth back to me in a very real way. And I can just count on you for a refreshing perspective whenever we're together. I know that that's what I'll leave with.
The final set of questions brought us together closer than I expected. Here, we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable with each other. Walls were broken down. Although it was unusual, we found a way to relate. It is usually hard to talk about difficult things with someone you barely know, but in this case, I felt comfortable. I was able to share some of my darkest moments and see the empathy in others' eyes. I felt heard, and I hope my friends did too. It felt good to talk, to listen, without debate. As illustrated by PERMA, a theory of well-being, there are 5 aspects that contribute to a meaningful and positive life. Through this exercise, I was able to hit every aspect. By speaking with my friends, I was able to share positive emotions of connection. There were many questions that made us laugh. There were also questions that pushed us to dig down and pull out positive experiences in our lives. By reliving these experiences with someone, I was able to feel the happiness felt in that moment, no matter how long ago it was. By finding time to engage in an activity that was new and fun, there was a huge break in the monotony of my life. This is not something I do every day, but something I may use in the future to help open up and check in with someone. For one of our conversations, my friend and I even walked around to find a secret little garden to film our video. After every conversation, my friends expressed how great it was to sit down. One even told me that it was exactly what he needed that day. I felt that my relationship to each person I did this exercise with was enhanced and strengthened. We now know things about each other we didn't know before. We have new ways to connect and better ways to understand each other. My passion in life is to help others, to have someone know I am here to support, love, and listen. By doing this exercise, I showed my friends that I care about them, what they value, and what they've experienced. I created a new level of trust between us. I was able to fulfill my purpose in life as someone that another can trust and turn to. I never thought I'd be brave enough to willingly go up to people and ask them to sit down and talk to me for 45 minutes. Just the thought of it scared me. That's why I chose this exercise, to push myself out of my comfort zone, to show myself that people will open themselves up if you give them the opportunity to. Completing this exercise 3 times felt like a huge step forward in my ability to approach and self-disclose with others. I will cherish these moments for the rest of my life. These effortful interventions can change the world, helping us to understand others who may be different than us. This practice is one I will take with me forever. I didn't realize the power of sitting down and having a heart-to-heart with someone I thought I'd figured out. Life is better when we feel free to open our hearts, to give and receive love, to make others feel heard, and to connect on more intimate levels. Try this with someone you love, someone you don't know that well, or someone you think is different than you. You'll be surprised by the insight you gain and the connection you make.